Welcome back to Ceramics 1. In this video, we're going to go over how to do the slab rolling for your slab ceramic box. Before you even get started rolling out slabs, make sure that you've got your plan sheet completed and you've followed all the requirements so that you know you're off to a good start. Hand that in. You should also have your slab templates that you've so carefully cut out and measured as homework, so you've got those to start with. And those also need to get handed in. I need to see both of those things. Then, for getting started, you're going to need to know a few things about the room, as well as the supplies you're going to need. So, starting, canvas workboard. I've got a variety of these canvas workboards at the front of the room, and these are really nice for rolling slabs out on. If you try to roll slabs on the wooden tables, those slabs are going to get stuck and you're never going to get them off without ruining. The canvas tables are a little better. You'll be able to get them off, but they might be a little damaged with fingerprints and stuff. So I highly recommend rolling onto one of these canvas workboards, because then once you're done, you can lay a second canvas workboard on top, flip it over, and release that clay that's on there and hopefully not damage it. Okay? These canvas workboards are only for working on. They're not for storing your work. You will need to go get a wooden bat to store your work on. So make sure that you release those slabs and store them on the wooden bat so that everyone has enough of canvas workboards to work on. Okay? Secondly, you're going to need slab rolling spacers. So here's two different kinds of slab rolling spacers we have in the ceramics room. The first set here that I'll talk about, these are 1/4 of an inch thick. They have the writing in, like, say, Home Depot on the side. All right, these are 1/4 inch thick. So if you love additive sculpture and you want to like make little things and like draw, like sculpt flowers and insects or whatever else on there, use these so that your clay doesn't become too thick and then explode in the kiln. So these ones are for if you would like to do additive sculpture, you're using 1/4 of an inch. If you want to do subtractive sculpture, there's these other ones. They don't have any writing on them. They are 3/8 of an inch. I cut these special in my basement so that they would be exactly the right size for you. So 3/8 of an inch are for if you just love subtractive, you'd like to carve things out and do lots of other little details and need to remove clay. Use the 3/8 of an inch. Then as you're carving away and using your subtractive sculpture techniques, you're not going to get your walls too thin and have those break. Okay, so very important which size you choose. Then, of course, you'll need your beloved rolling pin. And you will also need a knife, a fettling knife, and one of the metal rib scrapers to do our compression with afterwards. So, looking down here at our slab, I'm going to take this slab. This is a chunk of clay that I already wedged up, and I started pounding it with my hand like this. So you can pound it kind of mostly flat. Flip it over as you do that, because as you pound this down, it's getting worked into the canvas weave of this board, and it'll move less and less as you carry on. So once you get it down reasonably flat, take your spacing bars, set them on the side of the work tray. Then you're going to use your rolling pin, and you're going to roll from the center of your clay outwards away from you, then from the center of the clay backwards away, or rather towards you. Okay, after 1 or 2 rolls, take the slab and flip it over. Okay, because we're moving that clay. If you don't flip it over, the clay will get stuck on the weave of the canvas and won't move. Now, you're thinking to yourself right now, well, that's lame. I'm just going to grab this rolling pin and start rolling when I get it because I'm pretty skilled. I have almost yet to see students who, when they're rolling without rolling pin or without the spacers, not roll down like this on the edge and get that really thin look here on all of the edges of their clay. That looks really bad. Not only does it look bad, but then it's uneven. And it just doesn't make slabs well. So please, even if you think you're all that in a bag of chips, please do use the rolling spacers. It's just going to make your life better long term because your slabs will be even, and you'll get a better grade because your slabs will be even. So just use those rolling spacers. Of course, when you're done with the rolling spacers, put them back where they belong. Okay? Now, when you're done rolling, this is what your rolling pin should do. You should just be able to roll it, and it just rolls right off your board because there's no friction because it's rolling along the wooden sides. That's how you know when you're done. Then remove your slab spacers, and you've got your canvas or your clay here ready to be compressed. Now we've just taken all that clay and squished all of the platelets apart. We want to squish them all back together so that we don't have any of the cracking that is involved with making slabs. So if you are lucky enough to find one of these metal scrapers, you can scrape the surface smooth. I'm kind of holding this on a very acute angle, like 10 degrees or so, and smushing those platelets. I pulled in one direction here. Now I'm going to pull perpendicularly across that first direction and smush those little platelets back together. Okay? If you're not lucky enough to find one of these, or it's busy being used, you can also compress your platelets, both back and front, please, with a fettling knife. It's kind of like icing a cake. You just take that fettling knife and kind of bend it with a little bit of pressure and draw it across the surface. Go the first direction and then go perpendicularly, and you can kind of see where I'm leaving that swipe from the front of the fettling knife. Okay, now we have our work pressed like that. Then you're going to take one of your templates and you're going to lay it down. Now, at this point, a lot of kids will just start hacking into this with their fettling knife. Most of the time, because the fettling knife is pretty bendy, kids can't get a nice straight cut. So keep your slab rolling spacer, lay your slab rolling spacer right over the top of your template, and then use that to cut. Because of the stiffness of this wood, it keeps that slab, or that keeps the fettling knife from bending. Okay, now I'm going to just cut the rest of it off here, so we have our example. Now, this clay is very soft. You'll remember that there are a couple of different terms on our ceramics test. You can use, excuse the bell, you can use soft clay like this, or you can use Leatherhard clay like this. This clay is stiffer and holds its shape as I bend it around, whereas this one, being soft clay, it just flops right down, right? Here's another piece of Leatherhard clay holding its shape. Okay, so Leatherhard clay is on your test, and that is when clay is a little bit dry enough to hold its form and still carve. It's called Leatherhard. Okay, so what you're going to do today is you're going to cut out all of your pieces like this, store them on a bat with a paper towel in between them so that they don't get stuck together. Pretend that this is one of my next slab I'm going to cut out, and set it on top of there so that those two pieces don't get squished together. Okay? Now, once you've finished that, you'll be ready for the next stage, which is using the Leatherhard clay to do the construction. Okay? But before we move on to the Leatherhard clay, I've talked about impressed texture. If you want to take and have the surface of your clay textured, you can do a little texture now. You can use one of the texturing plates and actually put it on top of your clay, and gently, because you don't want to roll the clay really, you're just putting the texture in, gently apply some pressure with the rolling pin and squish that plastic sheet in. Then, when you remove it, you'll have that impressed texture that is from the plastic texture plate. Also, another way to do this, or another option, I guess, is if you want, we have some paddles in the classroom, and you can take a paddle and smack it like that and get different textures. I've got some other paddles like this, and you can actually press them into the surface and make a pattern or just a texture. And you can design your textures like that and then go back and cut out your piece and have a slab that already has its texture on it. Okay, so depending on what kind of mode you'd like to work in and how you'd like to add that texture on, you can add the texture beforehand and let your slabs dry to Leatherhard and then start attaching them. Or if you're that kind of subtractive personality or additive personality, you can take your slab afterwards and do the additive sculpture on or the subtractive sculpture on. So there's like, you know, let that dry. And here's your example as a piece of bisqueware, what that might look like. Okay? And here is your picture or example of what it might look like with a finished glazed work. And there's a different pad for each of those textures. Okay, so that's how you can start working with cutting out all of your clay slabs for your slab box, and how you can do the texture impression into the surface of your clay. Thanks for joining me for Rolling Slabs in Ceramics 1.